What if I told you the most dangerous player in women's golf just revealed exactly why she might be unstoppable this week? And almost nobody caught it. Nelly Korda didn't walk into this press conference sounding nervous. She didn't sound distracted. And she definitely didn't sound like someone feeling the weight of history. Instead, she sounded calm, locked in, self-aware, and maybe most importantly of all, comfortable. And if you know anything about elite athletes, that should make every competitor in the field a little worried. Because when a player with Nelly Korda's talent starts sounding relaxed, clear, and fully in control of her game, that's usually when the rest of the field is in trouble. And what makes this even more interesting is that she's not coming into this major trying to force greatness. She's not talking like someone obsessed with legacy. She's not feeding headlines. She's not trying to prove anything to anyone. She's talking like someone who knows exactly who she is, exactly what her game needs, and exactly how to stay in the moment when the pressure starts building. So in this video, we're breaking down the biggest takeaways from Nelly Korda's press conference ahead of the 2026 KPMG Women's PGA Championship, why her mindset might be her biggest weapon right now, what she said about her swing, her putting, her confidence, the Hall of Fame talk, and the one detail about her attitude that might be the biggest sign yet that she is ready for another major run. And if you enjoy golf breakdowns like this, subscribe now, because when players tell you who they are before a major starts, smart fans pay attention. The first thing that stood out immediately was how comfortable Nelly seemed the moment she sat down. This is her 10th appearance in this championship, and that matters. Experience changes everything. When players first arrive at major championships early in their careers, there's a lot of noise. There's excitement, nerves, expectation, media attention, and the sense that every shot means more than usual. But when you've been through it again and again, the major stage starts to feel less overwhelming and more familiar. That's exactly the feeling Nelly gave off here. When she was welcomed back to Hazeltine, there was a small, funny moment right away, a little interruption, a bit of laughter, and instead of looking tense or robotic, she rolled with it. That sounds like a tiny detail, but it tells you something. The best versions of elite athletes don't just survive pressure, they stay loose inside it. Then she started talking about the course, and her comments were incredibly revealing. She said she had been here before in 2019 and had good memories, but also admitted she didn't really remember the golf course until she actually walked onto it. That honesty matters, because it shows she isn't pretending to have some perfect mental archive of every hole she's ever played. She's grounded, real, practical. Once she got back on the property, the memories started coming back, and from there, her focus shifted immediately to what matters most, how this course is going to play now. And according to Nelly, Hazeltine is going to be a serious test. She pointed out that one of the few changes she really remembered was a different tee box on the 16th hole. But beyond that, what caught her attention was the condition of the golf course itself. She talked about the firmness, the speed, the bare greens, the undulation, and the wind. That's not casual commentary. That's a player reading a golf course in layers. She wasn't just saying it's hard. She was explaining why it's hard. Firm and fast conditions put massive pressure on distance control. Bare greens mean putts can get slippery, touch becomes critical, and speed control becomes a real separating factor. Add in wind, especially in the afternoon, and suddenly even routine putts start feeling more uncomfortable. That's the kind of challenge where discipline matters more than aggression. And Nelly clearly understands that. She described this as a placement golf course, both off the tee and on the greens. In other words, this is not just about power. It's about precision. It's about knowing where to miss, where to attack, where to stay patient, and when to accept that par is a good score. That's exactly the kind of environment where major championships are won. Then came one of the more important questions of the entire press conference. Was her game in the right shape for a week like this? Her answer was simple, but powerful. She said hopefully. Then she made it clear that preparation at a major is never just about one part of the game. It's not just putting. It's not just ball striking. It's the whole package. Short game, approach shots, fairways, positioning, greens, patience, all of it. And that answer tells you a lot about how she sees major golf. There are some players who come into big weeks talking about fixing one thing. Nelly didn't sound like that. She sounded like someone trying to make sure every piece of the machine is functioning together. And then came one of the most revealing technical updates, her grip. When asked about it, Nelly said it feels much better now. She admitted she had a few days to work on it, and said it still gets a little weak here and there, so she has to keep reminding herself. But then she said something very interesting. Now she's starting to see the ball overdraw again, and she actually prefers that to seeing the ball go right. That is a big clue, because elite players often tell you exactly where their confidence is through the shape of miss they are willing to accept. For Nelly, seeing the ball turn over a little too much is a much better sign than losing it to the right. That suggests trust. That suggests freedom. That suggests the feel in her hands and body is moving back toward a pattern she likes. She's not saying everything is perfect. In fact, that's part of what made her sound so convincing. She's acknowledging that she still has to monitor it. She still has to remind herself. But the overall direction is positive, and in golf, sometimes that's everything. A player doesn't need to feel flawless. They need to feel clear. And that brings us to the biggest theme of this entire press conference. Nelly Korda seems more comfortable being herself than ever before. One reporter brought up how she looked more at ease recently, especially in bigger off-course settings like New York City. And Nelly's response might have been the most important thing she said all day. She basically said that in 2024, a lot of those moments were still new to her. That makes sense. The more success you have, the more visibility you get, and suddenly your life isn't just golf tournaments anymore. It's media appearances, public attention, broader conversations, and representing the game on a different stage. That can be uncomfortable, even for world-class athletes. But Nelly said the biggest change she told herself she wanted to make was simple: just be authentic. Just be who you are. That sounds small. It isn't. Because once athletes stop trying to manage every impression and start allowing themselves to be genuine, they often play freer too. You spend less energy performing and more energy competing. And Nelly even said she was having a lot of fun in New York. Not just tolerating it, actually enjoying it. She talked about how it was fun to be on a different stage, in front of different people, doing something that helps grow the game of golf and puts women's golf on a broader platform. That's a mature answer. That's the answer of someone who's starting to understand not just how to win, but how to carry winning. Then the conversation shifted to the LPGA Hall of Fame, and once again, Nelly gave an answer that revealed a lot about her mentality. Now obviously, with her accomplishments and the pace she's on, Hall of Fame conversations are going to follow her. That's natural. But when she was asked whether it motivates her or affects the way she handles pressure, she was very clear: not really. She said it would be an amazing accomplishment to be alongside some of the best players ever on the LPGA Tour, but she also made it clear that it is not what drives her every day. What drives her is competing. What drives her is being in the hunt. What drives her is playing consistent good golf. That line matters. Good golf kind of solves everything. That is the mindset of someone stripping away noise. Instead of obsessing over points, legacy, and career math, she is staying attached to process. Play good golf. Put yourself in contention. Let the rest take care of itself. And honestly, that mindset might be one of the biggest reasons she keeps putting herself in position to win. She even admitted she doesn't really want to know too much about where she stands in the Hall of Fame race, because she doesn't want to add extra pressure to a game that is already hard enough. That might be the smartest thing she said all day. Golf is already one of the most mentally demanding sports in the world. Why carry extra weight if you don't need to? That's emotional discipline. Then came a question about the aftermath of the U.S. Women's Open, and her answer was refreshingly human. She said she was very tired. Not just a little tired, truly drained. She talked about struggling to sleep, waking up in the mornings not really wanting to get up, and still feeling a little tired even now. That honesty is important because sometimes fans assume top athletes move from one huge moment to the next like machines. They don't. Big wins take energy. Travel takes energy. Media obligations take energy. Expectations take energy. Nelly made it clear that after the win, the celebration was real, but so was the exhaustion. She explained that she went to New York, celebrated, then got home late Monday night, took Tuesday off, and got right back into work on Wednesday. That tells you a lot about her professionalism. She allowed herself a moment to enjoy it, but not too long. Then it was straight back into preparation mode. And yet, even with that grinding routine, she also seems to be enjoying herself more than ever. That's where the now famous videos came up, the left-handed shot video and the twirl video. The media asked about how much fun she seems to be having this year, and Nelly gave one of the most likable answers of the whole session. She said she had gone back through old photos trying to remember the course, found that old lefty video, and decided she wanted to recreate it. That's fun. That's playful. But then she took it one step deeper. She said she also wants to show people her personality. She wants everyone to know that she laughs, that she's a little bit of a dork, even if she's super serious on the golf course. That balance is fascinating. Off the course, she's more open, more playful, more willing to show character. On the course, she's focused and intense. That combination can be incredibly powerful because it suggests she's found a healthy separation between performance mode and personal identity. And when asked to define her personality, she said it plainly, a little dorky, for sure. That self-awareness makes her even more dangerous, not less. Because athletes who are comfortable laughing at themselves are often harder to break under pressure. They aren't carrying the brittle tension of needing to look perfect all the time. They can breathe, reset, move on. Then the press conference went into a historical direction, and once again, Nelly's answer showed how grounded she is. She was asked about being in the field back in 2013 when NB Park was chasing 3 straight majors. Now that's a massive historical moment in women's golf. But Nelly's memory of that week wasn't about grand narratives. It was about being there, making the cut, the fog delay, a par 4 she reached, a clutch putt, and the unforgettable quote she gave afterward, "Risk it to get the biscuit." And honestly, that story was perfect. Because while everyone else may look back at history in terms of titles and milestones, Nelly remembers what it felt like to be the younger player inside the moment. She remembers the nerves, the details, the randomness, the excitement. That perspective keeps history from becoming overwhelming. It stays human. Then she was asked a more direct version of the real question. Does she feel pressure knowing that what she is trying to accomplish this week would place her in extremely rare company in the women's game? And her answer, once again, was no. Not because the moment means nothing. Not because the trophy doesn't matter. But because she's staying committed to an in-the-moment mindset this year. She said she's trying to carry that mindset through the end of the year. She said the goal is obviously to lift the trophy at the end of the week, but her real focus is on preparation, confidence in that preparation, and leaning on it. That is such a champion answer. The goal is still the goal. Win. Lift the trophy. But the daily emotional focus is not on the trophy. It's on earning the right to compete for it. That's how elite players protect themselves from pressure without losing ambition. Then Nelly walked everyone through her schedule leading into the event, and once again it painted the picture of someone deliberate and methodical. She flew out from Midland after the tournament, did the New York trip Monday, got home Monday night, took Tuesday off, practiced Wednesday through Saturday, arrived Sunday, played early Monday morning because that's what she likes, did the Pro-Am, and then played the front 9. There's rhythm in that. There's structure. There's no chaos. And in major weeks, structure can be everything. Finally, as the press conference wrapped up, the conversation turned to the history of women's golf and the growth of the game, especially with the $13 million purse at this year's event. And this part matters, because Nelly's answer wasn't self-centered at all. She talked about sitting with past champions at major championship dinners and hearing them compare what they earned for winning in their eras. She reflected on how incredible it is to see the evolution of women's sports, not just in golf, but in tennis and basketball too. And she expressed gratitude to the partners who continue investing and raising the bar. That's a broader perspective. That's an athlete who understands she is part of something bigger. So when you step back and look at this press conference as a whole, what do we really learn? We learn that Nelly Korda is entering this major with a dangerous combination: technical awareness, emotional control, authenticity, perspective, and joy. Her grip feels better. She likes the shape she's seeing again. She understands the course. She knows the test will demand precision, patience, and complete control. She is tired, yes, but not scattered. She is aware of the Hall of Fame conversation, but not consumed by it. She is embracing her personality instead of hiding it. She is serious where it matters and loose where it helps. And maybe that's the biggest headline of all. This doesn't sound like a player chasing history. This sounds like a player who has learned how to stop chasing and start trusting. And in golf, that can be the moment everything opens up. Because sometimes the most intimidating athlete in the field isn't the one talking the biggest. It's the one speaking calmly. The one who has nothing to prove in the room. The one who knows the course is hard, knows her game still needs attention, knows the pressure is real, and still sounds completely at peace with all of it. That's the version of Nelly Korda the field has to worry about. Not the overhyped version. Not the stressed version. Not the version trying to force greatness. The dangerous version is the one we just heard. Honest, clear, relaxed, disciplined, and ready. So now the question becomes simple. If Nelly Korda is truly this comfortable, this prepared, and this mentally free heading into Hazeltine, who is actually stopping her? And maybe the even bigger question is this. Are we watching another major week unfold, or the next defining chapter of her legacy? Because if this press conference was any indication, she isn't arriving at this championship carrying pressure on her back. She's arriving with clarity. And that might be even more powerful.